Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today. For this one, we are going to do another out and about video for you. So today, I'm back in Japan. I'm in a little town called Okutama, which is in the western part of Tokyo Prefecture. It took us about 2.5 hours actually to get here from Shinjuku in Tokyo, but we're going to visit this place behind me, which is of course the wonderful Vertere brewery. So they've got two locations out here. We're going to visit both, but I'll let you see everything. We'll try some beers, we'll try some of the food, and hopefully we'll have a good time. But let's get started on this one. Really excited to be visiting Vertere, one of my favourite Japanese craft breweries. Let's do this. Alright guys, so yeah, this little bit just over here is actually the Vertere bottle shop, which we'll go into a little bit later on. But yeah, it's literally outside of the train station, which is very, very cool. So yeah, this is where we got the train, as I said, about 2.5 hours or so to get here from central Tokyo, Shinjuku. But yeah, let's go and just have a wee walk. I'll show you where the actual tap room and stuff is. This is the original brewery. So basically, you'll see the tap room straight away when you're on the train. You go down this little alley here, and you just walk a little bit, and it's just up here on the right. We will, of course, visit the bottle shop a wee bit later on. But yeah, this place is pretty cool and potentially one of the most unique tap rooms that I've seen so far on these out and about videos. So yeah, there you are, Vertere tap room. You've got this lovely old Japanese kind of gateway, and yeah, there you are. So look at this. This is awesome. So this is basically an old Akiya, like a vacant house that these guys converted, and yeah, they've got this lovely little situation here. So yeah, you can come out and you can sit on the patio and drink some beers. You've got a nice kind of atmosphere where the mountains and stuff are out. It's a lovely train journey out here, incidentally. But then yeah, you've got the tap room just over here. So yeah, let's pop inside. There we go. And yeah, so as you can see, it's really nice. They've got this thing up here which looks like a sled or something, but yeah, really cool little setup actually. And Amanda's sitting working away on some stuff and enjoying her first beer. So yeah, I think we'll get started on some tastings and things now. Let's do it. Alright guys, well, time for tasting number one then here at Vertere Taproom, Okutama. So the first beer we're going to have a look at is quite an interesting one. It's a style that you don't come across all that often, and one that I do quite enjoy actually, and this is also Vertere's Christmas beer for this year. So since we're here in December, we have to try this one. So yeah, beer number one is simply called Christmas Grisette 2025. It's got a little bit of honey and basil in it, and it should be quite interesting. So, grisettes, of course, are a farmhouse style of beer from Belgium. I think it's particularly the Hainaut area that these ones are from, if I remember correctly, but it was brewed originally for miners, or mostly for miners, I think is correct to say. So yeah, Vertere are very good at these more kind of hazy, unfiltered types of beer, so this is one that I think they should be pretty good at. But anyway, you can see that the beers pour this lovely kind of like bright yellow golden straw colour. When it came out, it had about a half finger of a frothy, I would say, cream coloured head. That's faded away to just be a thinner foamy layer now. Not too much visible carbonation, and because of the wheat content of this beer, you can see that it has that nice level of haze. So appearance wise, regarding what you would expect from a grisette, there's nothing really unusual here, I think we can say. So yeah, let's have a wee look at the aroma of this one then and just see what it's all about. Smells pretty nice actually. I mean, you can smell a little bit of the yeah, you can definitely smell a little bit of the basil in there for sure. But yeah, the honey's coming out as well. But yeah, the aroma of this one, it's giving you that big Belgian sort of yeasty character that you want from these kind of things. So yeah, I'm quite happy with the aroma of this one. We can safely say that. Yeah, so for me, the aroma wise, backbone of the beer, fresh white bready bread crust, lots of big fluffy fresh white bread. It's got a little bit of a kind of banana bready kind of quality to it as well. Um, so a lovely banana bready sort of quality, some clovey sort of notes in there too. Um, yeah, it's almost a little touch peppery as well, actually. As I say, you can smell the basil kind of mixing in with all the bready character. It's got a wee bit of like a biscuity. Yeah, it's got a little bit of a biscuity honey type note to it as well, which I think is great. So yeah, I really like how that pieces together in this one. The malty yeasty side of this beer is great. In terms of the hoppy side of this beer, there's definitely a little bit of hop inside this one. Um, there's definitely a little bit of hop in there. Kind of smells like noble hop, like little touch earthy, little touch herbal and kind of woody, and a wee bit more sort of grassy and things. So yeah, that goes together really nicely too. In terms of the fruity side of the beer, I'd say it's kind of like oily, sort of, it's got a little bit of like an oily, peary, apricot-y type character to it. Maybe a wee touch of a lemon limey note as well, but aroma-wise, I think it goes together really quite nicely. So yeah, gets a big thumbs up from me. Let's have a taste of this one then and see what it's all about. So yeah, this one is the Grisette Christmas 2025 or Christmas 2025 Grisette, whatever we're going to call it. 4.5% ABV, our first beer here at Vertere Taproom in Okutama. Let's do this. Kampai. That's pretty nice actually. Very, very smooth actually. You kind of want from a grisette, but it gives you the aftertaste on this is lovely. So again, well done to Vertere for this one. As I say, it's a style I don't have that often. It's a style you don't find all that often, to be quite frank. But yeah, they've done a good job of this, and I wouldn't expect anything less. This is a quality brewery, so yeah. So yeah, this one, it is pretty awesome. We can say that straight away. So let's break the flavour down then for you. Backbone of the beer, middle third of your palate, you've got that fresh kind of white bready bread crust in there. A little bit further forward, you get a wee touch of kind of woody character out of it. There's some Jacob's cream crackery note above that. Maybe a very slight hint of like a wholemeal brown bready character, but again, that's very well. It's mostly fresh white bready bread crust, Jacob's cream cracker, then a fluffy, fresh white bready character from the barley malt, and then yeah, you've got a more dense, kind of wheaty white bready character sitting on top of that. As I've often said, sweeter flavours come out further forward on the palate, more dry and bitter flavours come out further back. You've got a lovely smoothness coming out of the wheat in this one, which I think is great. So yeah, it's smoother further forward, gives you a little bit of bite further back, and in the dead centre of your palate, you can feel there's a little circle there, and in the centre, it's a little bit of like Werther's Original butter candy butterscotch, surrounded by a little bit of kind of McVitie's digestive biscuit, and you do get that little bit of honey character into the aftertaste. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little touch of Pilsner malt in this one. Just it has that little bit of a crisp quality to it, which I think suits it quite nicely. Now, the yeasty side of the beer on the back third of your palate, you've got all those bready layers that we just talked about, but they're a little bit taller, a little bit lighter, more airy and dry. But yeah, with the yeasty side of the beer, at its core, it's got a little bit of a more kind of grainy, brown bready sort of character to it. But yeah, as you move further out from that, it's got a little bit more of a kind of banana bready type quality, and there's a bit of the clovey kind of spice to the beer at that point as well. And I think the basil flavours kind of mixing in with that. And then yeah, the very edge of the yeasty character's a little bit more kind of bread crusty and things too. And definitely, yeah, back third of your palate, you can feel the flavours taller. Then as you move further forward into the middle third of your palate, it just kind of compresses down and squashes together that little bit more. So yeah, the way that that goes together in this beer, I have to say, is really quite nice. So yeah, on the I think we've covered the malty yeasty side of the beer then. So on the hoppy side of things, the back corners of the palate, it's a little bit more kind of earthy. So a little bit earthier, but quite smooth actually, German noble kind of earthiness. And as you move further forward from that, it's a little bit more kind of woody, I would say. So you're a little bit more earthy, a little bit more woody, and then a bit herbal as well. And as you reach the front corners of your palate, it's got a little bit more floral aromaticity to it. I think there's a wee bit of American or New Zealand hop in here, because it does have a wee bit more of that kind of New World zestiness to it. But yeah, round the front curve of your tongue, it's a little bit lighter and a little bit more sort of grassy, I would say. There's got a wee bit more zestiness to it. So yeah, that's really nice. If we go to the front third of your palate then, the fruity side of the beer, the base, of course, has all those little elements we were just talking about, all those kind of bready layers. Then you get that nice oily bubble where the juicy fruity esters kind of roll their way out of the beer. So let's look at the fruity side of this one. Yeah. So the fruity side of this beer, it's kind of like I said it would be from the aroma. At the back, you've got a little bit of a more kind of, it does have a wee touch of like a more zippy citrus, if you like. But yeah, as you move further forward, you get some oily pear, you get drier apricot, and then yeah, there's a wee bit of a lemon limey character just behind the front tip of the tongue. But mostly, it's like apricot, pear, maybe a little bit of lemongrass is a good way to describe what's going on in this one as well. So yeah, that's quite interesting. But overall, really, really quite nice beer. I normally wouldn't be one to go for basil in a beer, and I will admit I didn't notice that until after I bought it and looked it up, because that might have changed my mind. But it actually works, so maybe I need to be a bit more open-minded on basil in beers. We'll need to see. But yeah, mouthfeel-wise, this one for me, it is, I'd say it's kind of mid-bodied, right in the middle of the spectrum. It's got a wee bit of crispiness to its carbonation. Malt base is a bit drier underneath, smoother in the middle. It's got a slight little bit of sweetness on top, wee bit crisper further back. The yeasty character gives you a wee bit of dryness too. Lovely little fruitiness as well, a little bit more citrusy leaning. And I think you're probably talking about 25 IBUs at most with this one, 20-25 IBUs, which I think is normal for the style. But yeah, really quite interesting beer, this one. A style that Vertere undoubtedly can do very, very well. So yeah, I think we can leave it at that for this one and see what else we've got. So yeah, this one was the Christmas 2025 Grisette, 4.5% ABV, a little bit of honey, a little bit of basil in this one. A very nice start to our time here at Vertere in Okutama. So let's leave it at that for this one for the moment. Cheers. Alright guys, so this is today's tap list at Vertere Brewing's Taproom, right in the heart of Okutama. We're here on the 20th of December 2025, incidentally. So yeah, number one, they've got a Grisette at 4.5% ABV. The Stobe, which is a Bock at 7%. I think I need to try that because I do love a Doppelbock. They've got the Coffee, a coffee stout, which I'm very curious about too. Anthocaris, which is a sour IPA. I've not had too many of those on tap, so that could be interesting as well. Miestas, a Lithuanian farmhouse, 6% ABV with basil. Maybe not my thing, that. But then there's Aka, a New Zealand IPA, 6.5%. The Passiflora, another hazy at 7%. Then the Casimiroa, another New England IPA, 7.5%. Then they've got two double IPAs there, the Albizia and the Magnolia. The Magnolia is a regular one from what I remember, but we've got a good selection of stuff to have a look at today. So yeah, let's see how many beers we end up trying. But yeah, that is your tap list today here at Vertere Brewing. So yeah, there we go. Alright guys, well, time for tasting number 2 then here at Vertere Okutama. So, beer number 2 is going to be a style that I'm quite familiar with when it comes to this brewery. I think this is one of the first styles that I actually tried from these guys, but it's a style I know they do very well, and this is a beer that is quite highly rated. And it was the lady behind the bar's choice as well, actually, so can't go wrong. But yeah, beer number 2 is called Passiflora. It comes in at 7% ABV, and this one is a New England hazy, whatever you want to call it, IPA. So yeah, the beer poured again with a lovely kind of half finger of frothy cream-coloured head. That's faded away to be a little bit of a thinner, more foamy layer now. There's not much in the way of visible carbonation with this one, but you can see it's got a lovely kind of bright yellow mango juice sort of colour to it. But yeah, remember, the colour of your beer depends on a few things. One, the type of malts that you use. This goes a long way to determining your EBC rating. Two, length of your wort boil is going to play a role, because the longer you boil the wort, the more the sugars caramelise, and thus you get a darker colour of beer. But any barrel aging that you do or adjuncts you put into the beer will affect its colour as well, but you don't often have to care about that when it comes to the IPA style umbrella, if you like. So yeah, the haziness in this one, I have to say, for a 7%er, it actually looks pretty soupy and gloopy. It could just be due to the keg, of course, but remember, the level of haze in these beers depends on oak content, wheat content, and to a degree what yeast you use. That can vary from brewery to brewery, beer to beer within the hazy IPA style category. But yeah, in terms of appearance, with regard to what you would expect of a New England IPA, this one is certainly giving you everything that you would want, to be honest with you. So yeah, there's nothing really to kind of worry about there. But yeah, I think we've said everything we need to about that. Let's go on and have a little look at the aroma of this one then. Oh yeah, right. There's something very familiar about this. I haven't had this one from Vertere before. The one, they had 3 hazy IPAs on tap. So they had the Aka, which I had a couple of years ago, and I see that one quite often. They had this one, the Passiflora. Then they also had Casimiroa was the last one, and the lady told me this was her favourite out of the latter 2 there. So yeah, there's something very familiar about this aroma though. I would reckon it's maybe Idaho 7 and Citra hops in this one, to be honest. But yeah, the backbone of the beer, it's got a lovely sort of fresh white bready bread crust to it. You can smell that little bit of woodiness and that little bit of crackery character that you very often get. But yeah, tiny little bit of wholemeal brown bread, very fluffy, fresh white bread in there too. It's got a good little bit of wheaty character to it. You can smell a bit of the wheaty bitiness in the back of the nose, but for the most part, it's quite an oaty leaning New England IPA. And oats are always quite interesting when it comes to New England IPAs, because they can be quite a good indicator of how fresh your beer is. Essentially, the creamier they smell and taste, the fresher the beer is, the drier they are, the older it is. And the oats in this one are lovely and creamy. It's really nice. This beer is quite an oaty leaning New England IPA, but it's got a fair little touch of sweetness to it and a wee bit of wheaty character too. So yeah, you definitely get a little bit of like Werther's original butter candy butterscotch out of this one, but it's not overly sweet, I would say that. There's some McVitie's digestive biscuit in there as well. But yeah, malty base on this one. A lot of oaty character, wee bit of biscuity sweetness and things. It goes together really quite nicely, so that gets a big thumbs up from me. Yeah, I like that with this one. Malty backbone's lovely. Now, the yeasty side of the beer at the back of the nose, again, it's very, very familiar. I'd love to know what yeast they use, if they kind of culture their own, or exactly what they do here. But yeah, the yeasty character's got a little touch of brown bready note to it, lots of fluffy, fresh white bread, and then a wee bit of like, white bready bread crust in there as well. It's, yeah, the way that all of that goes together, I think, is really nice in this one. So, as I say, it gets a big thumbs up from me on that count. Yeah, I don't know if there's much else I need to say on the... yeah, I don't know if there's much else I need to say on that malty and yeasty side of things. Now, the hoppy side of this beer, as I've mentioned in many an IPA review before, there's 3 types of hoppings you can do with these beers. You've got early addition hopping, which takes place within the first hour or so of your wort boil. That gives you the vast majority of your bitterness and a deeper, danker green component. You've got late addition hopping, which takes place within the latter half hour or so of your wort boil. Gives you a little bit of bitterness, mainly flavour and aroma, and a very bright green component. Then you've got dry hopping, which takes place after the wort boil is complete. That's all about flavour and aroma, and again, it gives you a very bright green component. West Coast IPAs tend to use all 3, which is why they're deeper, danker, more oily and bitter. But New England IPAs rely on late addition and dry hopping, which is why they're kind of softer and more juicy. And you can definitely detect that that's the case in here. So yeah, with this one, the green component, it's got a teeny little bit of earthiness to it, but it's mostly quite bright and floral. It's got a good little bit of kind of grassy character as well. And yeah, the way that goes together in this one, I think, is really nice. The green component's nothing unusual for this style. When it comes to the fruity side of the beer, it is quite tropical leaning, this one. There's a lot of like juicy mango in it. So yeah, lots of lovely juicy mango. Wee bit of like passion fruit as well. Apricot. Quite a bit of pineapple. I think Citra, Idaho 7, maybe Galaxy or Idaho 7, something like that going on here. I'm tempted to say Galaxy because of the pineapple. And there is just a wee tiny little bit of like lemon limey character to this one, kind of toward the front of the nose, but mostly tropical. I think it's fair to say that with this one. But aroma wise, it goes together really, really quite nicely. So yeah, always take a bit of time to enjoy the aroma of your beers before you get stuck into them. So yeah, let's have a taste of this one then and see what it's all about. This is the Passiflora 7% Hazy IPA, New England, whatever you want to call it. Our second beer here at Vertere. Kampai. Yeah, that's good. It's not often these days that I drink like 6.5, 7% IPAs because, you know, in Hong Kong, they're literally the same price as the doubles and the triples, so it's a case of bang for your buck because beer is expensive anyway. But that's nice. That is a nice one. It's really lovely, and it's got this lovely kind of oily, like passion fruity, and it's almost got like a little bit of a kiwi type flavour to it into the aftertaste, which is quite interesting. Yeah, that's really good. Maybe I need to get another can of this one to take away with me. We'll need to see, but pretty impressed with this. But yeah, that's another very, very good beer from Vertere, but not surprised, because these guys know what they're doing. Yeah, so flavour-wise then, let's break this beer down. The backbone of the beer, fresh white bready bread crust in there. As you move further forward on your palate, it's got a little bit of a kind of woody character to it. You've got some Jacob's cream cracker on top of that. Yeah, so fresh white bready bread crust, a little bit of Jacob's cream cracker, wee bit of woody note in there, and there is just a little touch of like kind of brown bread in this beer as well, which is really, really nice. So yeah, on top of that, you get the fluffy fresh white bready character from the barley malt in this one. So yeah, fluffy fresh white bready barley malt character in there. Then on top of that, you've got a more dense wheaty white bready character as well. And the wheat in this one actually gives you quite a little bit of bite further back on the palate, which is quite interesting. So yeah, the wheaty bitey character further back does linger into the aftertaste a bit, but it really smoothens out further on. And I will say that in comparison with the aroma, the wheaty character does have a fair wee bit of prominence compared to what you expect it's going to be in the aftertaste. You can really get that out of this beer. But yeah, down the middle line of your palate, you get that lovely, creamy, sort of oaty character out of this one. So yeah, lovely, creamy, oaty notes in there. Little touch drier out toward the edges of your palate. And in the dead centre of your tongue, you get that little circle there, which is like Werther's original butter candy, butterscotch, wee bit of McVitie's digestive biscuit. Yeah, there's that little bit of sweetness in there. So yeah. So the way that all of that goes together in this one, I think is really nice. The malty side of this beer is really good. So yeah, back third of your palate, you've got all those malty layers that I was talking about. And then above that, you get the yeasty part of the beer. So at its core, it's got a little bit more of a kind of brown bready, wholemeal kind of character to it. And as you move further out, kind of fluffy white bready notes, and then yeah, white bready bread crust there. And yeah, the yeastiness gives you a wee touch of dryness into the aftertaste with this beer. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a wee touch of Pilsner malt in here, because it's just got a wee bit of that kind of dry zip to it, which I find quite interesting. But yeah, anyway, on the hoppy side of things then with this beer, let's go to that. That's of course the most important part with the IPA. So yeah, back corners of the palate, you've got a nice little touch of earthiness in there. But yeah, as you move further forward from that, it's a little bit woody and a little bit herbal. Then as you push further and further forward, it's got a little bit more floral aromaticity. Not going to blow the head off you though, but round the front curve of your tongue, it's a little bit lighter and a little bit more sort of grassy and zesty, if you like. So yeah, the way that goes together is really nice in this one. Now the fruity side of the beer, that front third of your palate where you get the nice oily bubble with the juicy fruity esters rolling their way out of the beer. Let's have a wee look at that. yeah, fruity side of the beer in this one is kind of what I was expecting from the aroma. Um, so at the back of that front third of your palate, you've got a little bit of how do you say? There's a wee touch of grapefruit out of this one actually. I'm getting a wee bit of that slightly stronger grapefruit. But yeah, as you move further forward from that, there's a bit of peach on top, juicy mango underneath, passion fruit in the base. Then yeah, as you move further forward, apricot, pineapple, and I do get a little bit of a kind of lemon, limey, zesty character as you move further forward on this one. So yeah, but I think I wonder, yeah, maybe Citra and Idaho 7 in this one, and maybe something a little bit more, maybe something a wee bit more kind of zesty, if you like. I think that's maybe fair to say. But yeah, the flavour of this one, this is lovely. Certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink this again, and like I said, very tempted to buy a can of this and take it away to review again. But yeah, mouthfeel wise, this one for me, I'd say it's kind of pushing top end to mid-bodied. Carbonation's very, very smooth. It's got a lovely sort of silky mouthfeel to it, but it does give you a wee bit of dryness into the aftertaste. It's 30 IBUs, maybe 40. It does feel a little bit more kind of bitter in a sense. But yeah, the backbone of the beer, fresh white bready bread crust in there. It's it gives the backbone of the beer. It gives you that little bit of dryness, smoothness in the middle, kind of sweeter creamy side on top. Just a little touch of sweetness, juicy fruity notes there, and yeah, it's got everything you want from this style. So big thumbs up to Vertere for this one. So yeah, this was the Passiflora 7% hazy IPA. A beer that seems to appear kind of regularly. Like I saw some guys in Hong Kong had been drinking this. So yeah, let's leave it at that for this one, and we'll go on to something else in a wee second. Catch you then. Alright guys, so yeah, they've got a few things on the food menu here at Vertere as well, so you can come along, enjoy your beer and have some sort of snacks as well. So yeah, on the kind of specials today, they've got smoked salmon and avocado, prosciutto, salami, olives, pickles, tortilla chips and salsa, some mixed nuts, and they've got a local special, the Okutama wasabi gelato. Tempted to try it because it's local, but I have to say wasabi was not really my jam, if you like. But yeah, they've got some hot dogs here. One with spicy meat sauce, apple compole sauce, plain sausage one as well actually, a few fried sausages and things down here. They've got fish and chips, chicken and chips, fried chicken, fish, chicken and chips as well, half size, French fries. You can get a sausage platter as well, Caesar salad with duck meat, a salad with beans and nuts as well. Smoked salmon, avocado, tortilla chips and salsa, some mixed nuts too. So pretty reasonable prices as well actually. Remember, 1,000 yen is maybe about $6 US, £5 sterling, something like that, maybe about €5.50. So yeah, a nice kind of selection of food here. So we'll maybe try some of that a little bit later on. But yeah, that's your food menu in December 2012 at Vertere Brewing. There you go. Right guys, time for taste number 3 then here at Vertere Okutama. So yeah, for this one we are going to stick to the IPA style category, but we're going to go a little bit stronger and also a little bit clearer, it seems. So yeah, beer number 3 is called Albizia, comes in at 8.5% ABV, and they're simply listing this one as a double IPA. Now, going by the look of it, I think it is more of a West Coast IPA, and remember the key differences between the West Coast IPA and the New England IPA would generally be the way that they're hopped. West Coast IPAs have a lot more early edition hopping, which gives them a lot more bitterness and things like that than their New England counterparts, and also what you put in the malt base. Like West Coast IPAs are primarily barley malt, whereas New England IPAs have barley, wheat and oats, and it's the wheat and oats that give them their kind of hazy appearance. But yeah, this one, while it's not listed as a West Coast double IPA, it certainly looks like it's going to be, so we'll just need to see. But anyway, when the beer came out, it poured with a lovely kind of half finger of a frothy, I would have said kind of cream fawn coloured head. You can see this beer has a lovely sort of like light amber sort of colour to it, and again, remember that depends on the kind of malts that we use. If it is a West Coast IPA, for me there's two ends to the spectrum for this beer. You've got the more oily caramelly end of the spectrum, and you've got the more McVitie's digestive biscuity and bready. sort of end of the spectrum. So this one, I think, just looking at the colour of it, if it is West Coast IPA, it's going to be somewhere in the middle. Bit of natural haze to it, of course, but yeah, it looks very nice. 1 or 2 bubbles sticking toward the side of the glass, and you can see those just going up toward the bottom of the head in this one. So overall, it looks pretty nice, and we've seen a lot of IPAs like this before, so there's nothing particularly surprising about this one, considering the what style and things this beer is. So let's have a wee look at the aroma then and see what we get out of this one. Oh yeah, going by the aroma of this, it's either going to be West Coast or it's going to be one of these kind of American IPAs that's somewhere in the middle, I think we could say. So yeah, it's lovely. It's got these big kind of juicy wet fruits to it. Nice kind of bright green component. It doesn't smell as if it's had too much early edition hopping right enough. It's not super dank, but it's got a lovely bready backbone to it. So yeah, the backbone of this beer, fresh sort of kind of wholemeal brown bready bread crust in there. A little bit of woody character, a little bit of cracker as you very often get. Definitely some wholemeal brown bread in there, and it's got a good little bit of sweetness to it as well. Smells like it's American, maybe 2-row malts that are in this. So yeah, wholemeal brown bread in there, some fluffier white bread as well. Yeah, the malty backbone of this one is really nice. Again, it comes across as being very, very familiar. So you've definitely got a little touch of like toasty brown sugar in there. Some oily, more sweet caramel as well. McVitie's digestive biscuit. Yeah, and you can smell a little bit of the booziness in this one, but when it's 8.5% ABV, you kind of expect that, to be honest with you. So, yeah, the way the aroma goes together in this one, I think, is really pretty nice. The malty backbone is lovely. It's kind of what I would look for in a West Coast IPA. It's not too bready, it's not too sweet, it's just kind of somewhere in the middle. So, yeah, lovely stuff. Now, the yeasty component of the beer, yeast always comes out for me at the back of the nose. The yeast comes across as being a lot more kind of brown bready. So yeah, more dense brown bready character at its core. A fluffier, like fresh white bready character to it as well. Then some kind of, yeah, it's got quite a little bit of like fresh kind of bread crusty character to it. So yeah, the yeasty character this one is more kind of white bready leaning, but a wee bit more brown bread at its core. The bready characters in this beer actually come across as being quite sweet, and that makes me wonder if it's a little bit more American malt or potentially Australian malt that's being used in this one. It's not quite dry and crisp enough, I think, to be European malt. But I could be wrong. Could be a bit of crystal or something in here. The brown sugars do smell a little bit European. So, yeah, that's worth bearing in mind with this one. But yeah, malty yeasty side of this beer is really, really nice. Yeah, hoppy side of things then. For me, a little touch of earthiness in this one. There's something telling me there's a bit of mosaic in this. So yeah, wee bit of earthiness. Nice little bit of herbally woody character, bright floral aromaticity for sure, and a good little bit of grassiness. But the fruity side of this beer, I get passion fruit out of this, maybe a bit of apricot as well, but I get quite a lot of tangerine zesty orange, and it's almost got a little bit of a kind of berryish character to it as well. But yeah, lots of tangerine zesty orange, maybe a little bit of lime, maybe mosaic in this one, could be. But there's a wee bit of that sharper peachy tropical note in behind it as well. So yeah, aroma-wise, this one's very interesting. This has got me thinking a little bit. And as I say, I was quite excited when I saw them pour this one in. It was more West Coasty looking because, yeah, I've not tried too many West Coasty type IPAs from this brewery. So yeah, I think this one could be very, very interesting. So let's have a taste of it then and see what it's all about. This one is the Albizia double IPA, 8.5% ABV. Our third one here at Vertere. Kampai. Okay, right. This one actually, it's not madly, but I think that they're going to have to say this one's more American IPA, right? It's not got the bitterness that you'd expect from a big West Coast IPA. But then again, a number of West Coast IPAs these days are not using as much early edition hop as was used back in the day, and that's because a lot of drinkers have gotten into IPA on the back of the kind of lower IBU hazy type IPAs. So yeah, there's a little bit of that going on with this one. It doesn't feel as if it's quite as bitter as some of the other ones. But yeah, I will say straight away, this is a really, really nice. This is a really, really nice beer. This one, and it gets a big thumbs up from me actually. And I will say actually, you know what I said about the bitterness? It does build into the aftertaste. So it is more of a West Coast double IPA, this one, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is the first time I'm trying a Vertere West Coast IPA. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that. So yeah, backbone of the beer. Let's break the flavour down. Fresh kind of white bready bread crust in there. As you move further forward, it's got a little bit more of a kind of woody sort of character to it. So fresh white bready bread crust, a little bit more of a woody note, and that lingers into the aftertaste. You've got Jacob's cream cracker sitting on top of that, a wholemeal brown bready character sitting on top of that too, and that lingers into the aftertaste too. You do get a lot of brown bread in this beer. Then above that, you've got a fresh white bready character to it as well. So yeah, wholemeal brown bread, fluffy fresh white bready character. Then on top of that, you start to get the brown sugary component out of this beer. So yeah, the brown sugary side of this one, it's got a little bit more kind of Jacob's cream cracker to it. So yeah, some Jacob's cream cracker in there. Well, it's a bit crackery. It's got a little bit more toasty brown sugar, so there's a layer of sort of toasty brown sugar, then you've got that circle in the middle of your palate, so it's a bit more boozy in the very dead centre of your tongue, so you've got that, not treacle mass, but that really boozy caramelly note, then I like more sweet honey type character as you move further out from that, and then yeah, the very edge of it's a little bit more biscuity, so yeah, toasty brown sugars underneath, boozy caramel in the middle, sweet caramel around the edge, and then yeah, a little bit of that more, yeah, a little bit of that more, how would we say, yeah, a little bit of that more kind of biscuity character around the edge. So malty backbone, this one is quite nicely done. If you go to the back third of your palate, you've got all those bready flavours we just talked about, but you've also got the yeasty component of the beer. So yeah, the yeasty component of the beer, it's got a more dense, sweet brown bready character to it. As you move further out from the core, it's a little bit more white bready, like a slightly sweet white bread, and the very edge of it, yeah, it's got a little bit of crackery and bread crusty character that just goes around the very edge of it there. So you get more yeastiness and stuff out of this beer into the aftertaste, and you also get more bitterness. So on that note, let's go on to the hoppy side of things with this beer, because yeah, this beer really is showing more of its it really is showing more of its bitterness into the aftertaste. So yeah, back corners of the palate, you've got a lovely little bit of earthiness coming out of this one. As you move further forward, it's got a little bit more of a, it's got a little bit more of a kind of, yeah, you've got earthiness in there, you've got a little bit of woodiness further forward, a little bit of a herbally kind of note to it, and then yeah, as you move further and further forward, you get a little bit of pine resin underneath, some nice floral aromaticity, a little bit spicy, and round the front curve of your tongue, it's a little bit lighter and more grassy. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a wee bit of like Chinook in this one. There's something telling me it could be Chinook, or even a tiny little touch of Columbus to give you that floral aromatic spice. But yeah, yeah, fruity side of this one then. Front third of your palate, same bready layers underneath, that nice oily bubble with the juicy fruity side of things. At the back, there's a little touch of a stronger grapefruit in there. As you move further forward, it's got a little bit of, yeah, as you move further forward, so you get the grapefruit, you get a wee touch of peach on top, oily kind of mango and passion fruity notes underneath. Then yeah, as you move into the front half of that front third of your tongue, it's like a big oily zesty orange and quite a wee bit of a like limey character that comes out of this one. So yeah, that limey, zesty character just behind the front tip of the tongue, mixing in with all the grassy esters, is really nice. So yeah, flavour-wise, it really builds into being a more old-school West Coast double IPA. This big thumbs up from me. Cool to try something like this from Vertere, because this is a first for me. But yeah, mouthfeel-wise, for me, this beer, I would say it's top end of mid-bodied, bottom end of full-bodied. Carbonation is very, very smooth. It's got a lovely oily kind of slick mouthfeel to it, but it's got a little bit of silkiness too. Very, very clean. I always talk about Japanese beer being very clean because of the quality of the water, volcanic island and all that kind of thing. So yeah, IBU in this one, I want to say that it builds to be about 60 or 70 IBUs. 70 seems about right. The malty character, a bit dry underneath, smooth in the middle, oily and sweet on top. And then yeah, you've got that lovely big fruity note to it. Very interesting beer, this one. I hope I can find a can of this actually. So yeah, this is the Albizia Double IPA, 8.5% ABV. Quite obviously a West Coast IPA, this one, but it's very good, so give it a go if you come across it. Let's go on to something else in just a second. Cheers. Alright guys, so yeah, the hunger kicked in and I decided to go for the chicken and chips, which I have to say looks pretty awesome. The size of that is pretty incredible, but we've got some salsa and tortilla chips. Amanda's been picking away at those like a pigeon, and of course Amanda's vegetarian, so she got the bean salad. So yeah, let's have a little look at what the food's going to be like. I'm very, very curious about this, I have to say, and it's needed after a couple of beers. Right guys, as you saw in the last little thing, the hunger took over. It's time to try a little bit of the food, so yeah, we'll go for the fries first off. Try them without anything on them. And as they are, pretty awesome, I have to say. They've just got that light little salty coating to them. Really nice. Yeah. Oh, the fries are great. Crispy on the outside, soft on the inside. Can't ask for anything else. So yeah. Let's have a wee look at the tortilla chips. Yeah. Nothing really unusual, whatever. Yeah. Let's try it with a little bit of the salsa and see. Yeah. But those fries are damn good. The salsa's nice actually. Get quite a little bit of bean in the salsa, which is interesting. It's got a little touch of spice to it, but not a lot. But I think the salsa's good. So Amanda, as a Latina, do you approve of the salsa? It's good, right? Okay. The salsa is Latina approved. There you are. Salad's good too. Yeah. Okay. Right. Let's have a look at this sauce then before we try it with the chicken. So it's a sort of mayo. I'm trying to figure out, is it garlic mayo? Might just be regular mayonnaise. Whatever it is though, I think it is just regular mayonnaise. I like it. Whatever it is anyway, I like it. So, Amanda's trying it as well. I think it's good. So, look at the size of these chicken bits that you get though. These are massive and they're roasting hot. Actually, they're absolutely roasting, so my hands are burning for this segment of the video, so bear with me. So let's try a wee bit of the chicken without the sauce first. Oh yeah. Chicken is on its own is lovely. It's just got a wee bit of salty coating to it. It is a little bit hot. Should have let it cool a wee bit before doing this right enough. But the chicken is absolutely lovely, but it's absolutely boiling hot. Let's try a wee bit with the sauce then, since we've started. Let's do it. Oh yeah. It's lovely. It's cooked perfectly. They've got just the right amount of juice. The sauce complements it really well. The sauce, I think, gives you just a wee bit of citrusy character into the aftertaste. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's a bit of mayonnaise with just like a wee bit of lemon zest or something like that. But if you come here, you can't go wrong with the chicken and chips. It's absolutely great. And there's some folk over there. I've got the sausage platter, which also looks very good. So yeah, I think you can't really go wrong with that. So chicken and chips is where I'd recommend, but sausage platter seems to have gone down very well with others too. Let's leave it at that for the little food segment, and we'll go back to the beer in just a little minute. Cheers. Right, guys, then time for tasting number 4 then here at Vertere Okutama. And, they've got this lovely space outside. I thought it'd be nice to come and film something out here and just enjoy the nature a little bit because, when you come to the countryside of Japan, it is pretty damn special. But yeah, beer number 4, we are going to start moving to the darker and more malty end of the beer spectrum with this one. And this is a style that I really do quite enjoy, one that I've not tried from this brewery yet. So when I saw this on the menu, I was immediately interested. So yeah, for this review then, we are going to have a look at a beer called Stoebe. So this one comes in at 7% ABV, and they're simply calling it a Bock beer on the menu, but I'm pretty sure this one is intended to be a German-style Doppelbock. So yeah, when it comes to the Bock family of beers, these originate from the German city of Einbeck. And basically, the Einbeckers took their beers down to Munich, and the Münchners made fun of their accent. And because when they said Einbeck, it sounded like Bock to them, which means goat. So that's why many of the Doppelbocks these days have a little goat symbol on their bottles and on their labels and things like that. So yeah, that's where the name Bock kind of originates from, if you like. But these beers are all lagers. They use bottom fermenting yeast, low temperature fermentation, and the Doppelbock is, of course, one of the darker and slightly stronger versions of these beers. Of course, you've got Maibock and Hellerbock and things like this. Heller, of course, is the light one. Maibock is the one that comes out in May. So yeah, I love the Doppelbock style. Paulaner Salvatore is a little bit of a classic. You can't really go wrong with that. Or the Eyinger Celebrator, that's another one. But yeah, beer itself looks really, really nice. Lovely kind of dark chestnut sort of mahogany colour to it. It's got about half, came out with about a half finger of a frothy, kind of fawn coloured head to it. That's faded away to be very, very little, of course, but you've just got that nice ring around the edge of the glass there, and not too much in the way of visible carbonation. Wee bit of natural haze to this beer, though, which you'd kind of expect. It depends, really. It varies from brewery to brewery, beer to beer, and so on. But yeah, appearance-wise, this one is pretty much everything that you would expect of the Doppelbock style. So yeah, let's have a wee look at the nose of this one then and see what it's all about. Yeah, a little bit sharper on the fruits, maybe because it's using American hops, but it's got everything else you'd want from this style. You can tell that it's German malt because it's a bit drier, so you've got that little bit of like crystal character to it. But yeah, it does smell really nice, and it's giving you all the sort of things that you want from this style. So yeah, the backbone of the beer, you've got this lovely little bit of like fresh wholemeal brown bready character to it. Little bit of wood, little bit of cracker, as you very often get. Nice kind of German rye bread in there as well. So yeah, lovely German rye bready character to it, and you've also got a little bit of you've got a little bit of a more kind of wholemeal brown bready character as well. Then there's almost just a wee kind of touch of there's just a little bit more of a kind of, there's a wee touch of white bready character to it, but it's almost got like a wee tiny bit of like caramel sponge kind of note as well. So yeah, rye bready notes, wholemeal brown bread, wee touch of caramel sponge, kind of everything that you'd want. So yeah, you've got a little bit of toasty brown sugar in there. Some more kind of leathery, woody kind of characters too, and usually that's a bit of an indicator of a slightly longer wort boil when you're brewing these things. So yeah, toasty brown sugar, more leathery brown sugar, sweet caramel, maybe a little bit of like treacle or something like that, but it's not overly caramelized. This one, you do get little elements of nuttiness and things out of this beer too. But yeah, yeah, malty side of this beer is pretty much what you'd expect. And again, what I look for in these kind of things is that they smell authentic and they taste authentic. You want them to be as they would be in Germany. And the aroma on this is pretty damn good. Yeasty side of the beer at the back of the nose, it's a little bit more, you've got a little bit more of a kind of wholemeal brown bready sort of thing to it. So yeah, a wee bit of a more, yeah, the yeasty character's got a wee bit more wholemeal brown bread to it. It's got a bit of white bread and a wee bit of bread crust. It smells, the one that I think it smells most like is potentially the Paulaner Salvatore. That's really what this one reminds me of. But the malty yeasty side of this beer is bang on for what you'd expect from this style. Now, The hoppy side of the beer, German noble hops in here all the way. Probably, I would guess, Northern Brewer. Yeah, Northern Brewer's the one that they really often use in this particular style. So, yeah, you've got a nice little bit of earthiness to it, very, very smooth, wee bit of woody character, kind of floral, aromatic, nice little bit of lighter grassy character too. But yeah, it goes together like really, really well. This one, it's giving you everything, as I say, you would want from this style, hop wise. Yeah, fruity side of things, it's like black currants, blackberries, a little bit sort of figgy and things as well. So yeah, everything you want from this kind of style of beer, it's given you. So quite authentic German style Doppelbock this. So quite happy with that. Yeah, let's have a taste of this one then and see what it's all about. So Stoebe, 7% ABV, Bock beer as they're calling it, but I suspect German Doppelbock. Let's try it. Kampai. Here we go. Sorry. All right, guys. So there's a guy in there I was chatting with. The guy in the jumper who walked past a minute ago. He stopped and talked to me. Cool guy. Spoke quite a little bit of English. So yeah, he loves Scotland apparently. So yeah, going to swap Facebooks with him later because it's just what you do. So yeah, we had a little taste of our Bock beer. So let's get back to the tasting of this one then. Yeah, I made a new friend, which was quite funny. Yeah. Yeah. Have a nice day, guys. Cheers. Yeah. The table over there, they thought it was kind of cool. This old guy just came and sat and chatted to me. So yeah, why not? That's Japan. The Japanese are great. There we go. So yeah. Anyway, right. Stoebe Bock beer, 7% ABV. Flavor wise, this one is really, really quite nice. It's a wee bit. It's not quite as dry and crisp as what you're going to kind of find from the German breweries and things, but it gives you all the types of flavour that you want. So maybe they're using a wee bit of Australian or locally produced malt or something like that in here. But yeah, it's pretty damn nice. So let's break the flavour down, describe it for you more in depth. Yeah. So backbone of this one then, middle of your palate, you've got that lovely little bit of you've got that lovely little bit of like rye bready bread crust in the backbone there. As you move further forward, it's a wee bit more kind of woody, I would say. So you've got a little bit of woodiness out of this one, and as you go further forward from that, you've got a little bit of, on top of that, you've got a little bit more of a kind of crackery sort of note to it as well. So yeah, brown bready bread crust, wee bit of wood, wee bit of cracker. Then on top of that, you can get the layers out of the malts in here. And I suspect this one, I think it does have a mixture of crystal malt and a little bit of, it's got a little bit of crystal malt and I think maybe a little bit of Australian malt to it as well, because the bready character is just a little bit more dense, I would say. So yeah. So yeah, the first layer in, you've got that rye bready character there, which has got a nice little bit of oiliness to it and a nice little bit of sweetness. Next up, you've got a wee bit of a more wholemeal, brown bready sort of thing out of this one. So your rye bread, wholemeal brown bread, then I think there's a layer of like a slightly white bready character to it as well. Then you start to get all the brown sugary notes. But what I will say is that further forward on the palate, you get a little bit more of that nutty character coming out of this one as well. So yeah, lovely little bit of nuttiness in there. And that lingers into the aftertaste along with a wee bit of the woody note as well. And yeah, the way that that goes together is really nice. But then you start to get the brown sugars, as I said. So you've got a layer like toasty brown sugar. Then you've got a circle in the middle of your palate, which has got that little circle in the middle of your palate has all the brown sugar notes. So in the dead centre of your palate, you've got a wee touch of a more like slightly treacly brown sugar, which of course is the boozy side of the beer, 7% ABV, and when it's a lager, it's going to show you that little bit of booziness. As you move further out from it, it's got a wee bit of like a sweeter kind of caramelly note to it, but then yeah, the very edge of that's a wee bit more biscuity. But you do get these kind of leathery, woody, toasty notes out of this one, which is really nice. But all of these things that are coming out of this beer are flavours you expect of a Doppelbock. But it's one of the more bready and one of the more kind of slightly dry leaning ones I've had in this particular style category. So yeah, it's really nice how it goes together for sure. But yeah, the more you drink of this one, the more of the brown sugar you get, which is really quite nice. If you go to the back third of your palate, then you get all those bready layers that I was talking about, but the flavours are a little bit taller, a little bit more dry. They give you a wee bit more kind of intensity as well. And then on top of that, you've got the yeasty side of the beer. So like the yeasty side of things for me, it's got a little bit more. At its core, you get the wholemeal brown bready character coming out of it. You've got the more fluffy, fresh kind of white bready sort of note, and then yeah, the very edge of it is a little bit more like a kind of toasty bread crust, actually. So yeah, the way that yeasty character comes out of this one is really nice, and you get more and more of the woodiness and more of like the nuttiness into the aftertaste with this beer. So yeah, it's an interesting one. It's quite a difficult style to brew, this one. You know, you've really got to control your temperature because the yeasts are a little bit a wee bit kind of volatile in this one. But yeah, it's kind of this one's turned out really quite nicely. They've got it really nice and smooth, which is what you want from this style. So yeah, the way that all pieces together in this one, I think, is really nice. Malty yeasty side of this beer is pretty damn well done. Now, if you go to the kind of hoppy side of things with this one, again, it's kind of what you'd expect because it's giving you that German noble hop character. You've got the lovely little bit of smooth earthiness in there. As you move further forward, it's a wee bit herbal and a wee bit woodier. And then, yeah, as you come further forward, you get more of a kind of quite bright but quite smooth floral aromaticity. Then round the front curve of your tongue, it's just that little bit lighter and a little bit more sort of grassy and zesty, I would say. So yeah, the way that all of that pieces together in this one, I think, is really quite nice. Yeah, green component is exactly what you'd expect and exactly what you'd want from this particular style of beer. So let's have a wee look at the fruity side of things then, just to round this one off. So the fruity part of this beer, again, I think it's quite oily actually. So there's maybe a wee bit of like American Williamette or something like that in here, which is just kind of accenting the fruit a little bit. But yeah, the fruity side of this one, on that front third of your palate, you get that nice oily bubble where the fruity esters come out of the beer. If you go further back, you get a wee bit of like, how would you say, it's kind of a little bit more sort of peary and sort of sultany on the back half of that front third of your palate. Then as you move further forward, it's kind of like figgy. Then it's more black curranty as you go into the front half of the front third of your tongue. So yeah, definitely, yeah, I think, yeah, pear, sultana, fig, black currant, I think is the best way to describe the fruitiness in this one. But then yeah, you've got all the woodiness, the brown sugars and the brown bread pushing its way out of this beer into the aftertaste. But yeah, let's go on to the mouthfeel of this one just to round off. It's a really nice bock, this one actually. It's pretty damn close to what you would get in Germany, but I would say it's a little bit kind of, you know, the mouthfeel I think is where this one differs a wee bit. It's got a little bit more oiliness and dryness. It's just not quite as crisp as you're going to get from a German brewed lager, but again, that can be due to your water profile here. It's volcanic island. You've got quite hard water in Japan generally, but it's great. So yeah, the water profile in this one makes it just feel that little bit different. So yeah, for me, this beer, it's like top end of light. Maybe I'd say bottom end of mid-bodied. Your carbonation is very smooth. It's lovely and very, very clean actually. Your IBU is going to be about 20, 25 IBUs, but it's got a little bit drier underneath. So it does give you that little bit of dryness, which you could conflate as being bitterness, but I think about 25 IBUs on the hoppy side is right for this one, but there's a bit of malty dryness out of it, and your malt is dry underneath, smooth in the middle, dry and sweet on top, and then yeah, you've got that lovely little bit of fruity character coming out of this one. So yeah, the way that this goes together is really, really nice. Solid take on the German Doppelbock. Just the mouth feels a wee bit different, but that's quite common when you try styles brewed in different countries. So yeah, beer number 4, Stoebe, 7% ABV, German style Doppelbock. I think it's pretty good, so let's leave it at that and we'll go on to something else in a wee second. I need to go back and say hi to my pal inside because he was pretty funny. I'll see if I can get him on camera in a wee second. Cheers. Alright guys, well let's have a little look inside the bottle shop then. I came round to get a few things to take away for sit down reviews on the channel. And you can see they've got quite a few things listed here actually, some of which are in the tap room, some of which aren't. So yeah, let's go in and have a little look and see what they've got. So I need to bend down to get the doors here because they are quite low in Japan, I have to say. But yeah, over here, as you can see, they've got all the different cans. So yeah, this one, this seems to be the same design that I've seen on a couple of the cans actually. But yeah, this one is Nothing, collaborating with Vertere, a West Coast Pilsner, 6% ABV. The Roystonia, which is a West Coast IPA, 5% ABV. Then they've got the Aka, which is a hazy IPA. We've had that one a few times before. Decentra, which is another, they're calling these two New Zealand IPAs, so obviously hazy IPAs with New Zealand hops. If we come over here, there's Sambac, which is an American IPA, Ravenna, which is another American IPA. Up here they've got the Magnolia, which is one of the double IPAs. This one you can find quite easily in Hong Kong, I remember. Then there is the this one here, the Euphilencia, if I pronounced that right. Yeah, another IPA. Passiflora, hazy IPA, that one's on tap in the tap room today. Then there is the Persica, which is a peach goza. Cilia, a blonde ale. Anthocharis, which I tried a couple of years ago, the sour IPA. The Hydrangea, which is a saison. I can imagine these guys would be quite good at that. The Ruta, they've got one can left, Lithuanian farmhouse ale. That appeared in Hong Kong as well. Then the Calamintha, an Italian Pilsner. And then here they've got the Globa Chai Latte Stout, 7% ABV. Down here they've got the Irato, which is a lager beer. Then the Tenera, a session hazy at 4% ABV. Coffea, which is the coffee stout, that's on in the tap room as well. And then Tristis, which is their triple IPA, which I tried a couple of years ago too. So yeah, a nice selection of cans here actually. But if you look over here, you can get some different bags and things like this too, which are quite interesting. You can also buy different clothes. So yeah, there you can see some of the things. They've got different long sleeve t-shirts and socks and sweatshirts and stuff like this. So yeah, you can see some of those here. They're pretty well made actually. You can feel the quality in the fabric of these. These are pretty good. They've got the kind of hiking t-shirts as well, which makes sense for this part of Japan, of course. And yeah, you've got a few different designs on the back and things there. That looks pretty cool, I have to say. Some hoodies too. You can get your Vertere hoodie and things. But yeah, so you can see they've got the hats as well. Those are about 4,000 yen. The little bags, things like that too. There's the socks. You can get some, I'm not sure what this one is actually. But yeah, you can get your water flasks, your mugs, your different beer glasses as well. You can get a little tulip glass, my favourite obviously. So yeah, pretty cool. So that's a wee look around the little bottle shop for you. There you go. Right guys, time for our fifth and final tasting then here at Vertere Brewing's taproom in Okutama. So you can see behind me, you've got the lovely mountains, again sitting outside because why not? So yeah, we're going to end this video, I think, or end this part of the video I should say, with something a little bit darker as we always do. So beer number 5, oh, if I don't spill it, beer number 5 is called Coffea. It comes in at 7.5% ABV. As the name suggests, it's a coffee stout and it's brewed with coffee from one of the local roasteries. And it is supposed to be very, very good, this one. A lot of people have been telling me this is a good beer. So I thought this would be a nice one to kind of round off on. So let's have a wee look at it. Anyway, as you can see and as you would expect from a stout of any description, it's got a lovely sort of dark ebony rosewood colour to it, and you can see on top it's got a lovely sort of dark medium tan head, so it looks great, this one. If we shine the light through it, of course, you can see pretty damn opaque. So yeah, probably a little bit of wheat and a little bit of oat in this one, I would guess. But yeah, not much in the way of visible carbonation. A few bubbles coming toward the surface of the liquid there, but overall it looks pretty nice and pretty much as you would expect from a stout. So let's have a wee look at the aroma of this one then. So yeah, aroma wise, it smells absolutely lovely. So yeah, it smells a little bit stronger than it is. It's only 7.5% ABV. Normally, I have coffee stouts as like big imperial beers. Like for me, very often these are like 10, 11, 12%. So yeah, this one is a little bit lower in its in its in its ABV, but it smells absolutely lovely. So when it comes to coffee beans, these are one of my favourite adjuncts to put in beer. You know, you've got different kind of bean first off. And you know, coffee beans are as diverse as hops. So coffee beans, you've got the different type of bean first off that can make it a wee bit different. You can grow it in different regions of the world, which means you've got different water profiles, different soil profiles. This, of course, can affect the flavour. And then you've also got the maso, the meters above sea level at which the coffee is grown. And that is going to give you, again, different flavours. Apparently, the higher up that you grow the coffee, the more fruity and aromatic flavours and things you're going to get from it. So yeah, this one smells absolutely great. So let's just have a little look at the coffee side of this one first before we go into the rest of the beer. So the coffee in this one for me, it's got a little bit of earthiness. It's a wee bit floral. It's got lovely kind of purpley, fruity kind of characters too, and yeah, it's got a little bit like plum and raisin and stuff like that as well. So yeah, the fruity side, the fruity side of the coffee in this is pretty awesome. But it's got a nice balance between wood, roast, and yeah, nice balance between wood, roast, and how do you say, like earthiness and things. It's really great. But yeah, the backbone of this beer, you've got roasty, toasty, well fired bread crust in there. You've got some rye bready character, like there's some chocolatey notes in there, like 60, 70, 80% cocoa chocolate. So it's some of that going on. Of course, the coffee blends in with that. There's like a chocolate sponge cake to this beer as well. And then there's a lot of brown sugar, like treacle molasses, roasty, toasty caramel, things like that. So, yeah, the way that this one goes together in that sense is really quite nice. The yeasty side of the beer for me, it's got a little bit of that like Scottish English Christmas puddingy type vibe to it. So, yeah, it's kind of like. Yeah, yeah, reminds me of the Christmas puddings that we used to have from my mum at Christmas time. It was great, but yeah, the how would you say? Yeah, I would say that it's quite yeah, like the yeasty side of this one's like quite Scottish English Christmas puddingy. There's some rye bread in there. You've got that sort of treacly molasses, big brown sugary note out of this one too. So yeah, the malty and yeasty side of this beer is quite interesting. You're getting little notes of nuts and little notes of wood out of this one. The further, the more that you smell of it. So yeah, hoppy side of the beer. It's a little bit earthy. It's a little bit floral, wee bit grassy. You know, stouts are not the most hop forward style of beer. So they're always going to give you just a little bit of that green component, but not overly much. But on the fruity side of things, for me, this one, you've got lovely big kind of, you've got lovely big figgy notes out of this, of course. Raisiny notes, yeah, raisins, figs. There's a bit of date and a bit of prune with this one, and yeah, you've also got that little bit of like, yeah, probably raisins, dates, prunes and stuff like that out of this one. I think that's probably the best descriptor of this. So aroma wise, this is great. As I always say, take a little bit of time to just enjoy that aroma before you get stuck into this one. But yeah, let's have a taste of it and see what it's all about. This is the Coffee a 7.5% coffee stout, our last beer here at the Taproom of Vertere Brewing in Okutama in here in Okutama, Western Tokyo Prefecture. Beautiful backdrop for this one, I have to say. Let's get stuck in. Slange, skål, cheers, kampai. That's really nice. I love a coffee stout. Um, and this one's just, it's really nice and light and drinkable. As I've often said, Japanese beer can be very, very clean, but it's, it just gives you this lovely little, it's always just got this lovely little bit of drinkability to it, and this beer is awesome that way. So, yeah. But yeah, that's a lovely stout. Gives you everything you want. You've got that smoothness in there, the roastiness, the breadiness, the sweetness into the aftertaste, the little bit of coffee bitterness, and that wee bit of fruity character. Massive thumbs up for me. All the beers we've tried today have been very good quality, but I don't know, this one just kind of strikes a chord a little bit more than some of the other ones. Yeah. The fruity side of this beer is really nice as well, but let's just break the flavour down and describe it for you a wee bit more in depth. So, yeah, the backbone of the beer, roasty, toasty, well-fired bread crust in there. As you move further forward on that middle third of your palate, there's a little bit of like woody character coming out of this one, and yeah, so a little bit of woody character in there. As you go on top of that, there's a wee bit of cracker, and then yeah, you start to get this kind of like rye bready sort of layer. Then the next layer up is a more wholemeal brown bready layer, and then you've got this kind of almost chocolate spongy type character coming out of it. And within those three layers that I've just mentioned, you get a bit of nuttiness, and that nuttiness and the woodiness of the beer kind of lingers into the aftertaste as well. So yeah, the way that all of that pieces together in this one is pretty awesome. Mm. But yeah, on top of the kind of chocolate spongy character, you start to get the brown sugars. So the brown sugary note, there's a layer of kind of, well actually before that, you start to get the chocolatey side of the beer. So there's, as I've often said, sweeter flavours will come out further forward on the palate, more dry and bitter flavours will come out further back. So further forward on that middle third of your palate, you're getting maybe 40% cocoa chocolate. Further back on the palate, you're getting maybe 60 or 70% cocoa chocolate. So yeah, you can feel the more milky chocolate further forward, the darker chocolate further back. Then there's a more roasty, toasty um, there's a more roasty, toasty brown sugary layer on top of that. Then in the middle of your palate, you've got a sort of circle, oval type. You've got that more circle, kind of oval shape on this one coming out. Then in the dead centre of your palate, you've got a wee bit of a treacle molasses type flavour. Then as you go out from that, it's a little bit more sweet and caramelly, a little bit toasty. Then the very edge of that circle is a little bit more kind of McVitie's digestive, biscuity like. And as I say, you've got that toasty brown sugar, then the chocolate and all the bready layers underneath. So the middle third of your palate in this beer is the middle third of your palate in this beer is where most of the complexity is, and it goes together really quite well. So let's go to the back third of your palate then, because the coffee comes out there, pardon me, and you've also got the yeasty side of the beer. So let's have a wee look at that yeasty side of things. So yeah, the yeasty side of this beer for me, um, well, first off, I think we should talk about the bready layers on the back third of your palate, and particularly the border region between middle and back third of your palate. That's where you get the coffee coming out of the beer. So the coffee for me, it kind of infuses through all the layers. It's got a little bit of earthiness to it. So yeah, definitely a little bit of earthiness in there. Quite a little bit of aromaticity, actually. So there's earthiness, there's aromaticity in there. There's earthiness, aromaticity. Then it shows you more kind of red fruity notes into the aftertaste. I'm getting quite a little bit of like woodiness out of it as well. But the yeasty part of the beer, the yeasty part of the beer for me, at its core, it's got a little bit more of a, it's got a little bit more of a like rye bready character at the core. Then as you move out from it, it's a wee bit more. It's got a wee bit more of a kind of wholemeal brown bready character. Then the very edge is a little bit more of that toasty bread crusty character again. So yeah, the coffee, the toasty bread crust, and the roasty black malt linger there into the aftertaste and give the beer a bit of bitterness. But then, yeah, you get the kind of bready, brown sugary, malty side of things coming out of this one into the aftertaste as well. So yeah, the way that all of that pieces together on this one is pretty nice actually. I'm not getting so much of that sort of Scottish English Christmas puddingy character that I was getting out of the aroma, but still all of the flavour in this one goes together nicely, I have to say. And definitely, yeah, back third of your palate you can feel the flavour is taller. Then as you move further forward into the middle third of your tongue, it just kind of compresses down and it squashes together that little bit more. So let's go on to the hoppy side of things with this beer then. So yeah, hoppy side of the beer. Back corners of the palate, you've got a nice little bit of earthiness in there. Then as you move further forward, you get a little bit of a woody, herbally sort of thing going on. Then yeah, there's a nice little bit of floral aromaticity to the beer as well. So yeah, nice floral aromaticity. Then yeah, round the front curve of your tongue, it's just that little bit lighter and more sort of grassy and zesty. So the green component of this one, you know, stouts are not the most hop forward styles of beer, but the green component definitely plays a role in this one, and you can see that here. So the hops are visible in this, but not playing the biggest role in the flavour. We can safely say that. So yeah, I think that's everything we need to say about the hoppy side of the beer then. So if you go to the front third of your palate then, you can see that you know, you've got all the bready layers that I was talking about earlier, the roasty toasty character underneath the nice bready layers, but you can feel the coffee is actually showing a little bit of its sweeter side, and you've also got the kind of lighter side of the chocolate coming out, which is quite interesting. But above everything else on that front third of your palate, you've got that nice oily bubble where the juicy fruity esters roll their way out of the beer. So let's have a wee look at the fruity side of things with this one then, just to round it off. So yeah, fruity side of the beer on this one is quite nice actually. When you take the beer in, there's quite a little bit of like juicy plum. So if we go to the back of that front third of your palate then, you can feel there's like juicy plum on top. There's a little bit of a kind of prune underneath, maybe a wee bit of a datey character underneath that. Then as you move further forward into the middle of that front third of your palate, it's all about the kind of figgy characters there. So those are lingering there. Then as you push into the front half of that front third of your tongue, there's black currant underneath, then a little bit of juicier blackberry, and there's a wee touch of raisin just sitting on top of that one. So yeah, the way that all of that kind of pieces together in this beer is really interesting. So I do like how that all goes together in this one. That gets a big thumbs up from me as well. The fruity side of this beer is really, really nice. So yeah. So yeah, I think that's everything we need to say about the flavour of this beer actually. The coffee really smoothens out into the aftertaste with this one. But yeah, I think that covers the flavour, to be honest with you. So yeah, mouthfeel wise, just to round off this beer, I would say that the mouthfeel in this one, it's kind of pushing toward the top end of mid-bodied, bottom end of full-bodied. Carbonation is very, very smooth. It's got a lovely silky mouthfeel, but it gives you quite a little bit of dryness into the aftertaste. The backbone of the beer is quite roasty and toasty, as we say, maybe about 50, 60 IBUs in this one, both from the coffee, from the malt, and a little bit from the hoppiness. They are 50 or 60 IBUs. Malt base is drier and roastier underneath, smooth in the middle, slightly dry and sweet on top. Then yeah, you've got that lovely little bit of fruitiness in there, and the coffee character in this one just gives you that little bit of warmth into the aftertaste. But yeah, the way everything goes together in this one is very, very nice, and this beer gets a massive thumbs up from me. Let's leave it at that for this one. This was the Coffee at 7.5% coffee stout, our last beer here at Vertere Taproom in Okutama in Tokyo Prefecture in Japan. I'll be back in just a wee second with something else, so I'll catch you just then. Cheers. So guys, when we were here, we made friends with the Ijima family. So yeah, kanpai. Okay, guys, well, that is the end of our time then here at Vertere Taproom in Okutama in Tokyo Prefecture in Japan. So, yeah, I had a really nice couple of hours here with Amanda trying quite a few different beers. I think we reviewed 5, if I'm not mistaken. We started off with the Grisette, which was a really interesting one. Not a style you find all that often, and I'm not the greatest fan of basil being in beers, but I really enjoyed that one. Then we had the hazy IPA, the Persilia, if I remember the name correctly. That was really, really good, and I actually went back to the bottle shop to try and get a can of that one to take home and do a sit-down review of, but unfortunately it had sold out. I just wasn't quick enough, apparently. But yeah, then we went on to the what was it called? The Abyssilia, the West Coast Double IPA. That was really nice. Unfortunately, they didn't have a can of that one either, but I don't know if that one's been put into cans yet. But yeah, we saw that both sides of the IPA spectrum, the New England Hazy and the West Coast IPAs, are pretty damn solid. And then we went on to the Doppelbock, which I was really impressed with, actually. I enjoyed that, a style that I've not had in quite some time. And then we finished off with the Coffee Stout, and that was really good as well, particularly when you consider that it was quite a low ABV coffee stout. So we got to try 5 different styles of beer. All of them were very, very good quality, and that is what I have come to expect from Vertere over the last few years. These guys are a very, very high quality brewery. The food was great as well. The chicken I really, really enjoyed, and it seems to be very, very popular. A lot of people were ordering that during the time that we were in here. We were paying for the small beers about 8 or 900 Japanese yen, so that's in the region of like £4 sterling. €4.50, $5 American, something like that. For the bigger beers, we were paying maybe about 1,200 yen, which is about £6 sterling. Yeah, maybe about €6.50, $7 American, something like that. So the prices were pretty good, actually, when you consider that it's craft beer and it's in quite a rural area, and you're also in Japan, where beer is a slightly more expensive commodity than in other places. And yeah, the food was very reasonably priced as well. I think it was about 1,200 or 1,300 actually for the chicken that I had. So yeah, very, very good value for price, I would say here. And very good quality product is what you're getting. The guys behind the bar were great. Obviously, my Japanese is a bit limited. Their English is a bit limited, but somehow we made it work. And I think we did have some good fun. And of course, we made friends with the Iijima family, who I'm sure I'm going to see at some point when we come back to Tokyo. But yeah, we've got a 2-hour train trip back now, so I thought I would come out and film this one just a little bit early and get it done. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this little out and about video at Vertere Taproom in Okutama. We were told that the new brewery that they have, it's only really a tour and like a can fridge that they've got there. So we were told that this is the main kind of stop for Vertere when you're in Okutama. But yeah, if we come back again, which I'm sure we will at some stage, we'll maybe go and take a little look up there, and we'll go and have a little look at Okutama Lake, actually. But we pretty much came here, sat and chilled, enjoyed the beers and enjoyed the food, and that was that. We enjoyed the train journey out here, so maybe next time we'll stay overnight and see what we can do. But yeah, highly recommend that you take the time to come out to Okutama if you find yourself in Tokyo. Vertere is a great brewery, and they'll offer you some very good service should you come here. So let's leave it at that for this one. Once again, thank you for watching my out and about videos. I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and we will be filming a couple more while I'm here in Japan. So I'll catch you guys very soon with something else. Ciao just now.